Hello, everybody! Welcome to Take the Black Live. I'm Dan Selcke of winneriscoming.net, here with Mia Johnson of fansided.com. And we're here to discuss all the nerdy news that you probably can't use but can listen to anyway, because it is very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
The big thing today, Mia, is, as always, there's lots of stuff happening.
Yeah.
We're going to get into some controversy. We're going to get into some Game of Thrones news, of course. Some stuff about Marvel and the always ongoing fluctuating business relationship in there. And an announcement at the end of it that I think you're going to
special
be interested
secret surprise announcement. But first we got to jump into our news.
Yeah, first, New York Comic Con.
Yeah.
So the second biggest Comic Con pop culture nerdy event of the year. Do you think it's the first, or do you think it's eclipsed San Diego in some way? I've heard some people argue that.
I think that's kind of hard. I think most people look to San Diego Comic-Con for those big announcements for movie trailers and stuff. And when it comes time for New York Comic-Con, it's more just like, the cast of my favorite TV show is going to be there. So, but you don't really expect like any huge, super duper announcements.
For now.
By
the way, hi, Julie. Hello, Karen. Everybody's
hi, everybody.
But we'll be at New York Comic Con. We're going to have Ariba Bouvard, who you may have seen around Wick, writing articles. She'll be there. She's going to interview, in fact, Deborah Riley, the production designer for Game of Thrones, which that show has amazing sets, so she has something to say. And Helen Sloan, the still photographer, who took like 1 million photographs on Game of Thrones from the start.
That's awesome.
I've always want to talk to her.
You know what, it's weird because whenever we like work with Game of Thrones and we put up the photos and I see the captions, it says Helen Sloan. So like that name is just kind of like engraved in my mind. Like, oh wow, that is a real person.
They're going to be, so we got these like exclusive pics, Wick exclusive pics from the new photography book, The Photography of Game of Thrones, going on sale in November. Which, the photography was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful from that show.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I always wondered, and again, this is a question for Helen Sloan, who's not here, not for you, or for anybody out here, maybe you know. Like, how would she get the shot of, like, Davos crowded in a press of bodies? Like, is she literally there when they're, like, rolling?
That's what I'm always wondering, because it's like you want to get it, like, in the middle of the action, but you also don't want to be in people's way.
Yeah, surely that would be bothersome. Or there's shots of, like, like that one. How in the world would she get one of, like, Oberyn Martell and the mountain, like, squaring off, doing a little flippy flip with all that stuff? Maybe it's easier than it looks.
Yeah, I
don't
wonder,
know.
like, if they say, like, on the time, like, okay, we're going to have Helen today. She's going to be on set. Mm-hmm. And so if she says freeze.
You better freeze.
Just get that shot with him midair. No, but I think it's really
look at the horses. How would she get that? But again, maybe there's a trick to the trade I don't really realize.
Really, yeah, because it's more than just a freeze frame.
Yeah, it definitely it's a proper still photograph.
Yeah. And it's beautiful. So.
But anyway,
I
we'll
can't wait
find
to
out
see what she has to say.
We'll find out. I'm going to tell Ariba to ask that because I want to know. Anything else you're excited for from NYCC, as the children call it?
I am, okay, so something interesting is going on in the House of Marvel and the House of Disney.
Yeah, always.
So, of course, there's going to be a lot of big Marvel panels, and one of them, interesting enough, is Marvel's Runaways. And there's been some interesting talk going on behind the scenes about Marvel's TV division and what's going to happen when Disney Plus takes over. I know how much you love Disney Plus.
I'm a fan of Disney Plus. I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
It looks like they're doing a decent job so far.
Yeah, and so, like, the thing...
I object to the general glut of streaming services, but Disney Plus looks like a decent one.
I get you, yeah. And so what's going on with, like, this is that Marvel TV is, like, its own department, and Marvel Studios is its own department.
Right.
Marvel Studios is what's developing pretty much everything on Disney Plus. And everything on Marvel TV is getting canceled. Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, all those. So it's like Runaways is one of like the last...
Ghost Rider show is not going to happen.
Ooh, R.I.P. to Ghost Rider. It's like, all these shows are like fading away. So it's going to be interesting that the head of Marvel TV, he's going to be there. I think his name is Jeff Loeb.
Yeah.
Loeb.
It's spelled dumb.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
So it's going to be interesting. He's going to be
Jepph or something.
Yeah, I was like, Jeff. I think it's going to be interesting to see, like, now that Marvel Studios and Disney are kind of like, just give that to us, and I don't know what they're going to do at this rate, so Runaways is still hanging in there strong.
Hulu, right?
It's Hulu. Yeah, Hulu. And they're going to have a crossover episode with Cloak and Dagger from Freeform. So I think that's going to be interesting for fans.
Fun.
Yeah. But
they also have this Marvel's Hero Project on Disney+.
Yeah, Marvel Heroes Project. I almost forgot. That one is super cute.
It was.
Yeah.
The idea is they're going to look at real-life kids who are doing inspirational things. Like, I saw the trailer, like, one kid is, like, leading a march. I don't know what for exactly, but, like, he was leading a march for some kind of justice.
Yeah.
And they're going to turn those stories into comics, give it to the kids. Very cute, very family-friendly.
Yeah.
Very Disney Plus, PG-13
super Disney. Screams
brand.
Disney.
I've heard folk, like, object to that they're not going to go, like, R, for, like, that everything on Disney Plus is going to be PG-13 under.
Yeah.
So even though there are, like, skulls in the Mandalorian trailer or, like, severed stormtrooper heads,
It's like
it's going to be a PG-13 level of severed head.
Yeah, that's as far as they'll go.
I'm fine with that.
I am too. I mean, if you want R-rated stuff, you look around you. There's plenty. Put on HBO, go watch Game of Thrones.
I mean, like, if anything, it means, like, that, like, Netflix and HBO Max can kind of take that market for themselves.
That's true.
And
That's
they can,
true.
like,
so
fine,
there's something
we'll
good out
make
of
that.
this. Fun fact, I was watching the Marvel Hero trailer, and I knew one of the girls featured in there. And I
Really?
not like no, but, for animosity, to be anonymous about this.
Animosity? You hate her?
No, I don't hate her. I don't want to, like, completely give away who she is, but she's related to somebody who worked at my college. And people, because I was in a journalism school, people did stories about her all the time. And so it's just kind of cool to see how she's evolved and has grown so far. So
Was she the one? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah, we can talk off camera, but she's really cool and inspiring.
Sweet. Yeah, that looks like a fun show.
Yeah.
I mean, like, feel good, but that's more feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And
use
we'll get to
some
some
of that
horrible,
nowadays.
we'll get to some feel awful stuff a little later. I mean, for New York Comic Con, I'm interested in seeing the Watchmen panel, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm secondhand excited for Star Trek Picard. I feel like people are really into that.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And I wish
I forget, are you, because Cheryl loved Star Trek. Are you into Star Trek?
I like Star Trek. I don't know. Well, Cheryl is always so passionate about.
Yes.
I miss her, but no, I do love Picard, and I don't know if he's gonna be there or not.
He is. Yeah, I read the lineup. Sir Patrick Stewart will be
Sir
there
Patrick
talking about,
Stewart.
his adventures.
I want to say something. I don't know. I feel like I may have told this story to people before, but when I went to Entertainment Weekly host their San Diego party, Comic-Con party, and when I ended up going there, I was supposed to be for press. And when you go for press, you get a list of all the people who are going to be at the party. And on the party invite was Sir Patrick Stewart. And I'm like, do you think Sir Patrick Stewart is going to show up to this rooftop party in San Diego with, like, Taron Egerton and Cole Sprouse? He didn't show up. So I was really disappointed. But if there's an after party in New York, I hope I can get on the list and see him.
By the way, hey Christian, hey Terry, hey Ismail, hey Louise, hey Sabrina, good to join us.
Hi.
All right, so in other Marvel news, so we had the end of this bizarre drama this week with Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
He left the MCU, couldn't be a part of it anymore because of business deals, and now he's fine and he's back.
Ta-da!
Were they jerking our chains here? I mean, basically, Disney and Marvel got back together.
Yeah.
They split over it because they couldn't come. Disney wanted more profits from the solo Spider movies that Marvel
Right.
that Sony was making. It's all very complicated business. And Sony said no, so they said, we're taking our Spider-Man and going home. No more crossover for you. And they came back with it. Now Disney will get 25% of the profits instead of half from the solo Spider-Man movies. I assume they'll put up the same amount of production costs. And everything is going forward as normal.
Yeah.
So good outcome for this. Need we have gone through that stressful period?
And, it was exactly 1 month, I realized, or just about that. It seemed like it happened 2 years ago for some reason. I was like, oh, my God. But, no, when he got back in, I was like, I had a feeling that was going to happen.
Yeah, no one seemed like they really had, they were all talking
they're like,
maybe in the future.
Yeah. Spider-Man is never going to see his friends. This is so sad. I'm like, guys, come on. He's going to come back. And a story just came out today where it was like, some said that Tom Holland was actually pivotal in those negotiations, trying to get those two to come to the table and break bread. So I thank him for that at least.
I mean, it's this weird kind of disconnect for me where it's like thinking about like you want to see Spider-Man involved in your favorite superhero movies,
Yeah.
and it's like, and that's like an emotional kind of like just a pleasant thought.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then it's almost at like right angles to this. We're not going to do it because we couldn't come to an agreement on a 50-50 revenue split between Sony and Disney.
Yeah, it's
Like, I mean, obviously, it's this weird thing where you know this is all a business. You know this is all designed to sell you stuff. But, I mean, what it's selling you is a fun story and a good feeling about, you know, watching characters who don't exist go around and, like, do good things.
Exactly.
And it's just, it bumps up so weirdly in my brain against like the hard business reality and kind of the candy-covered fun experience of actually watching an MCU movie.
And before, like, I read the Tom Holland thing, I was wondering, I'm like, were they just content on being like, this deal is over and we don't want to see each other ever again? Or was it just like the fans and they're like, see, here's my thing. Okay, so I was like, is it them being like, oh, we really want to cater to the fans and make sure that they get what they want? Or was it that they were so tired of the negative backlash that they were like, fine, we'll
There really
do
wasn't
it.
much, though.
As
Like-
far as what?
Like, backlash, I thought.
I don't know, backlash, but like more of like a feeling of disappointment.
Sure.
Like I don't think there was anybody who was like, oh yeah, Spider-Man's gone, or
I mean,
oh it's
I'm sure there
whatever.
were some.
Okay, maybe some. I don't know. I'll find you. No, I won't. But I mean, to me, it's like, okay, well, whatever. In the end, it works out. There was, though, a theory where people were saying that even with the deal, Sony wanted to have Spider-Man still be separate from the MCU. And so how they're going to do it was have, like, the multiverse exist and have one Spider-Man where he's, like, with Doctor Strange and he's, like, in all these dimensions. And then the Sony Spider-Man, completely different, but still played by Tom Holland, doing his own thing, like fighting Chameleon or somebody. It's like that.
Like, what
sounds
a ridiculous,
confusing to me.
circuitous way to go about pleasing your audience.
That sounds so confusing to me. So I'm like, if they ever done that, that would just be a complete mess up. But I think it'll still be kind of like cohesive and it'll all make sense. Fingers crossed.
And so far, they've done a great job of that, like against all odds, so I hope so.
Yeah.
Speaking of Kevin, yeah, sorry, go on.
Oh, we have a question from the audience.
Sure.
Louise wants to know, is Dan doing his fashion slot this week?
You know what? We have a picture. We have some pictures coming up in the near future, so sure, I'll hit it up. I'd love to.
I think we need to make this happen
Yeah,
a lot more.
we can do costumes again. I enjoy that stuff.
That's true. Yeah,
'Cause
for New York
I
Comic-Con.
watch the Fashion Photo Review, which is like a show that Drag Race girls do,
Yeah.
and it's so much fun. and they're so knowledgeable. But I've picked up maybe some skills.
Oh, okay.
can try that.
Okay, I think we need to, if this is a segment that the people want to see, we have to serve the people, so.
Okay. Anyway, speaking of the MCU working out despite all odds, because I mean, just how complicated it is, the fact that it's
Yeah.
held together this long, I think is like a miracle of modern movie making.
Yeah.
There was an announcement that Kevin Feige, the Marvel Studios president, who's kind of behind all of that, who has made it this
Yeah,
far.
yeah.
This is the brief Star Wars detour. Sorry about that, Julie. Is going to be drafted to make Star Wars movies, working under or with Kathleen Kennedy, who's Lucasfilm president. Basically, it sounds like they want to bring the MCU magic to the Star Wars shared universe.
Yeah.
Is that possible?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, the shining example of that is Jon Favreau, who's doing The Mandalorian, directed Iron Man 1 and Iron Man
there's a lot
2.
of confirmation already.
Was already, in all of, a lot of Iron Man movies and Spider-Man Far From Home. So it's kind of like, I guess, if they had that in their, wheelhouse, if they have that at their disposal. And they were like, well, Kevin Feige is just such a Star Wars fanboy, so it was natural that we get him to do it. And I'm like, all right, I guess. I'm sure.
I do like that he actually does seem like a fan of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like that's faked with him.
Oh, yeah. And the, what was it? So the original X-Men series, God bless them, when they were good, he
Way
was
back in the
actually,
day.
that was one of his first roles, was like a consultant, because he knew the comic book so well that he helped to form the narrative and helped to form the characters on set.
That's sweet.
Probably even better than the directors. And then, that's when he officially, later was with Marvel Studios. So he knows what he's talking about. But with Star Wars, I don't doubt for one second that he knows what he's talking about with that.
I mean,
too.
who knew? You take someone who actually likes the material and you put them in charge of stuff and it ends up being good.
Wow. Mind-blowing
Shocker.
concept.
Okay, do that some more often maybe. Speaking of Star Wars, I did one because Empire, we're leading to the Rise of Skywalker,
Yep.
Episode 9, giant big temple, yada, yada, yada. They released some new photos of it. I did enjoy this one of Kylo Ren being windblown back, where all these poor stormtroopers, look at them all in the background.
Toppling like
They're
bowling
like
pins.
bowling pins. And about fashion, I mean, of course, you got to have Kylo Ren in a big swirling black billowy coat of pain.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's just his look. It always has been. All black and just so determined. Stormtroopers are just like
Stormtroopers are so useless, first of all.
I know,
this
that's what I was
picture
going
is
for,
exhibit
yes.
number 1.
There's got to be some way to rehabilitate. Were they ever cool? Or were they always just dolts who were just shot at and bonked on the head by little tiny Ewok cuddly stuffed action figures?
It's like the outfit and the uniforms are cool, the suits are cool. But beyond that, they can't aim for crap. So that's about as far as they go. I do like, though, oh my God, full disclosure, I love Kylo Ren so much. I love Adam Driver so much. And so I don't know what's going on in that picture per se. I could probably write an essay about it.
I had like a theory, not my theory, someone else. Like it's like a ship like taking off, and it's like blowing them back, like Millennium Falcon or something.
Interesting. I see like the blue light. Maybe Rey could be like unleashing her full powers, and the blue represents the good, and I don't know. We'll see when it comes out.
Okay, moving on. Star Wars segment over. I wanted to another big announcement this week, right ahead of this other convention. That's a little bit of counter program for NYCC.
Yeah.
Netflix finally confirmed, that Stranger Things is coming back for a 4th season.
Yeah.
And there's a quick little trailer. Why don't we just watch it real quick? Stranger Things. Coming up. No, that's my camera. Woo! Okay.
Wow.
Okay, so I have 2 things to say.
Please go ahead.
First of all, I think it's absolutely ridiculous that they've been kind of dancing around like, if Stranger Things gets renewed, we can go on these adventures.
No, I was so surprised to see it was renewed. I never would have thought it.
I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, that's Netflix's biggest show by, I think, like a decent wide margin.
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah.
Like probably they got the most buzz off of.
Yeah.
And it does pull pretty well. So, of course, they're going to renew it. So they did this week. It's right before they have, actually, which I'm probably going to go to this weekend, Stranger Con here in Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're having a whole Stranger Things convention opposite New York Comic Con, which I didn't really realize at first. You think that's a little odd? Why don't they just go there?
A little bit. I mean, because it's a local convention, it's like, if you're not going to fly out to New York Comic Con, at least you have something down home that you can come see.
I'm here in Atlanta, says Terry, which is totally true.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, but I mean, like, they could have just gone to New York Comic Con.
So, like,
and I mean, like, it's a local convention, but it's still like the cast members are coming. Like,
yeah, I was gonna ask who's there.
Like, Millie Bobby Brown is coming on Sundays, and if you get her, everybody else, she's like the big one.
Yeah. Is that I'm kind of interested. So is she like one of the biggest people?
I think she's the biggest one on there.
Okay.
But I mean, like, they all have the kids.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of interested.
Like, Winona Ryder's not there, but.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like, how do you throw a Stranger Things con? Kind of like with the Walking Dead convention, they usually have a sizable chunk of the cast. So, I mean, I'd be interested to see how they pull it off for this weekend. So you'll have to report back next week.
And I mean, it's perfect because they make the announcement. I'm sure it's purposeful.
Yeah.
Make the announcement, and then you get to ask all of them this stuff.
That's
when you go
true.
to the con.
Yeah.
But yeah, just interesting timing. I guess they think, like, we can compete with NYCC. We're Stranger Things, damn it. We can do it.
All right, yeah. Good luck.
And finally, in the news, I thought we would touch on the ongoing cluster or whatever about surrounding the Joker movie, which comes out this Friday.
Oh, gosh. Am I getting tired of the Joker?
I mean, it's so sad because, like, I I thought from the start it looked pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm still going to see it, both because I want to and I have to talk about it here in in like a little round table thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's getting hard. I'm starting to feel bad about wanting to see it.
Yeah.
Anyway, some counter programming. They also released the trailer for Birds of Prey, which is not about the Joker, but is Warner Brothers' DC is about Harley Quinn, his okay, so outfits, by the way. I thought this was the one we were talking about.
Yeah.
Although I was not prepared for this. You know,
Get the Harley
you gotta
Quinn
love what Margot
jumpsuit,
Robbie is wearing. Is that okay? So
Sparkling gold.
that's diamond patterned gold.
Like overalls.
Yeah, overalls. Oh God, that's
with the skates, like cotton candy colored skates.
Yeah. It's an inspired wacky ass look.
And
I don't know the other characters, by the way. I know that like
so yeah, we've got Black Canary. I know is one of them.
Is that her? Are we just looking at her? Okay.
And
that one.
And I'm drawing a blank on
ladies.
Yeah, all the ladies. But they do look
more
super
gold.
fierce. They've
Very
got
nice.
their like bats in tow. They've got their, spiked knuckles or whatever.
And I mean, just talking about photo composition, like obviously they want Margot Robbie to stand out. So Harley Quinn gets the shiniest, goldest, brightest, onesiest thing of all.
And
it's
you
terrific.
notice she's not wearing her skimpy Suicide Squad outfit,
She's
with
not.
The,
I mean,
the short shorts
it's
and the
figure hugging.
Yeah.
Like, they've talked about that in terms of the clothes in this one. That if you look at Suicide Squad, and, it's like she's, like, pushed up, and they're kind of framing her all this way. This movie's directed by a woman. I forget her name. But it's less leering.
Right.
The outfits,
no male
which
gaze,
are nice.
yeah. And so I think what I found interesting, and the timing, is that I think the subtitle for this, it's Birds of Prey and, like, the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn, which is a great ass title.
That is a mouthful. And I think it's the name of the comic too. But what's so funny about this is that it's about basically Harley Quinn breaking up with the Joker. And like in one of the teasers, she says, "I'm so effing done with clowns." And it's like, that's how like a lot of people are feeling right now, at least how I'm feeling with the Joker movie. So I don't know if this was like damage control for Warner Brothers, or like, let's just push out the
maybe. I mean, I tend to think it's just good time. And then again, it's not until like February the Harley Quinn movie, so maybe it is a little.
Yeah, they're like,
because
it's their emergency button.
You're right. Like it was a nice tonic. Like it's big and bright and bubbly and just like unambiguously fun. Whereas the Joker has been getting. Well, let's talk about the Joker for a second.
Oh boy.
So last week. So I think this is so interesting, just because whenever a movie kind of gets a discussion around it that like kind of blows up and brings in these other societal topics and like kind of gets mixed up with just other points of discourse, I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
And Joker's done that, whether it wanted to or not. Like it's gotten involved. It talks about gun violence, about incel violence, about terrorism, that kind of thing. The most recent stuff, and just they're handling it all wrong. The people who are involved with it, they're getting defensive, which is never a good look. The latest is the Alamo Drafthouse straight up put out a parental warning label saying the movie has overall bad vibes.
Yeah.
Like just insulting the movie.
Didn't they say like is it like not good for children, or like your child
they
won't
did,
enjoy the movie?
Which I was like, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, do you need to say that?
Yeah.
Who's bringing your kid to Joker?
Maybe he saw the memes with the Joker and Tobey Maguire. Have you seen that? It's like the Joker dancing, and then it's Tobey Maguire dancing. It's my favorite meme. Like, out of this whole tragedy, we've got one good meme.
I'll look it up later. The NYPD is cracking down. Not cracking down. Just like paying attention to screenings in New York. They're afraid of violence. Which was a discussion last week. And the director, Todd Philips, is like, rather than like kind of embrace the seriousness, he's got into that like defensive place where he's blaming woke culture for ruining comedy, saying like all the funny guys are like, F this S because I don't want to offend you, and they're leaving, which is just it's like, I want to see the movie. I think it looks good.
Yeah.
But when you hear something like that, it's just, you're embarrassing yourself. You're making me not want to see your thing.
Yeah, every next thing is like worse than the last, and I'm like, maybe I'll enjoy it like on DVD or something, or well, you kind of have to see it anyway.
At this point.
But yeah, I'm like
now I can't watch it guilt free.
Yeah. For sure.
I'm pretty sure now I realize they didn't want reporters on the red carpet because probably of him. because he's the one who's been blah, blah, blah about this.
Yeah.
I think they were afraid.
They were afraid of something for sure, and I don't know. I think it's not like a matter of national security where they're like, we're not going to let press in, but that's my first, it's like, okay, whatever, cool.
After this, I'm pretty sure it was so they would stop Phillips from saying stupid stuff on the carpet. I'm pretty sure that was it.
Well, maybe that was one of the right things that they've done during this whole thing.
I mean, okay. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting to talk about because on the one hand, it's like, oh, making fun of the out-of-touch guy who was blaming woke culture, whatever that is, for the death of laughter, which is clearly not happening. And on the other side, being like, I mean, are there serious criticisms about violence, about this thing inciting violence or inspiring violence? And I feel like the talk about it might actually go, make that more likely than if no one talked about it in the first place.
That's been my whole thing. It's like the more you talk about it, the more we're drawing attention and kind of augmenting a problem that is kind of barely there in the first place. So that's been my whole thing. It's like, if we just stop talking about it, maybe it'll just go away.
But I mean, here we are, literally talking about not talking about it on our pop culture show.
Just cut all of this out.
Contributing to the problem and solving the problem all at once.
I wanted to talk about Birds of Prey.
I mean, but again, I do think it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Just how these things get caught up. And we'll see what happens at the premiere this weekend. I'm going to go see it. I hope things go well.
Please enjoy.
And
Give you my blessings.
Do you have any other thoughts, Mia, about any of these topics or others?
No, I think I'm quite ready to move on to what we have last.
Okay, so I have an announcement. I'm sorry to report. Usually this is the time where we bring in fan-sided zone Josh Hill for A Song of Dan and Josh, the weekly series where Josh and I walk through every chapter of George R.R. Martin's as-yet unfinished magnum opus, breaking it down, making it see what works, what doesn't, what makes it great. But unfortunately, Josh died or had to go away with his family or something like that. Unfortunately,
Josh is still here for the
Josh
record.
is still, yes. I'm making a joke.
Just making sure.
I have a bad habit of doing that. Long story short, Josh Hill he's still here. He's fine. He can come back for other shows. He won't be able to do A Song of Dan and Josh anymore. This is the end of Song of Dan and Josh as we know it, with Josh Hill no longer being a part of it, which I'm very sad about. We had some good times. We had some laughs. We dug into the literary merit of a potentially great piece of literature when it's all finished.
Oh, yes.
But it's over. But, Mia, you have graciously agreed to read up on the books.
I will.
And then eventually we can pick up where we left off with A
will.
Song of Dan and Mia.
And I'm excited because it makes me more knowledgeable about everything Game of Thrones. So.
And it will maintain kind of the dynamic because the whole thing with Josh and Dan was that I'd read all the books and seen all the shows, and he had only seen the show.
Yeah.
And you're kind of in the same boat.
Yeah, so
So
new Josh. He's got a surprise.
Yes. Well, not a surprise, but
Well,
in honor of you coming on board for this, I'd like to present you with a copy of George R.R. Martin's A Game of Thrones from my personal collection.
Ta-da! I shall read this. I shall take good care of it, and I am so ready to dive in.
Again, don't expect that in the next week. It's going to take a little bit longer to read that. But soon enough, we'll be back with more episodes of A Song of Dan and Mia, where we will dig through all of this juicy material.
Sound of that.
And just get literary with it.
Yeah.
So be patient a little bit. I know we have some. Terry is putting down a crying emoji, which I agree. But Josh will still be back. Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe.
And in the meantime, you and I will dig into this stuff.
All right. I'm excited.
All right. I think it's about all we have for this week, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. We're available on iTunes, Google Play, wherever podcasts are sold in podcast form. And we'll be back next week here live on the Women's Brain Facebook page to discuss more really important stuff, including probably a recap of NYCC, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
So join us next Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we'll see you then. Adios.